Hi everybody, welcome to this video about the Sickleman and what I believe to be a series of clues that are related to what may be a partial reveal of the Sickleman's identity. Now this was an aspect of the game that was teased very early on by Bethesda with this tweet that they sent out with this scroll on the wall here saying Sickleman was here. And if we go down to the scene, and I'll take you there right now, I'm right here at the cabin where this screenshot was. It was very easy to find, given that it was very, very close to Fallout, the Vault 76. And it's right here, just a little bit to the east of that, and south of North Kanawha Lookout. So let's just go into this cabin here. The most important part of it is in this, the underneath, beneath the floorboards of the cabin itself. I'll switch the light on. There's a whole bunch of skellies here. They're all headless. Where are the skulls? And this is the scroll. This is basically the screenshot that Bethesda teased for us. Sickleman was here, was the original one. Now, with the drop of the Wastelanders DLC, it has been changed to Sickleman is here. Now, let's have a look around the site here. Like I said, there's the skellies, there's a sickle, which is the instrument that he's been doing his deeds with. There's a few other things around. There's the safe, but there's only random loot in there. And there's that little Halloween motif of the skeleton hanging down. Now, apart from some other random stuff, there's other stuff in the cabin. And let's just go into, well, I'll show you where the skulls are. He's obviously beheaded all of those skeletons and put the skulls inside this jacuzzi, or hot tub, whatever you want to call it. And we can go inside. There's the hole that leads down towards the under part of the house. And there's some other stuff around here. There's a recipe. There's some random stuff used for cooking. And interestingly, there's a butter churn, which is not a very common item. And the only other place I could find a butter churn in the whole game was at the Fort Philippi cemetery. Whether it's a pertinent clue, I don't know. I found other clues that may point towards his identity. So let's have a look-see at how I've been joining the dots here. Let's go at the back of the cabin here, and let's have a look at this setup here. There's a rocking chair, a guitar sword. I'm not sure the guitar sword is particularly pertinent to this, but there is this bird cage. Bird cages are pretty rare. And there is also a spittoon. Now, keep in mind these two things. These are the most important clues. And I'll take you to the secondary site now. Oh, there's an interesting bloodstain up on this wall here as well, right next to a cooking station. This may be, well, I'm sure it's related to something, but I haven't joined the dots here yet. In any case, let's go to the second site related to the Sickleman, which most people know about if they've been tracking this particular case. And it has also a series of clues which people have generally inferred to be related to the Sickleman case. So let's go there now. It's right down here near RNG Station. There is Spruce Knob, or what is now called Foundation with the Wastelanders DLC, down here at RNG Station, and right next here where I've placed this marker. So let's go there now. So here we are at this secondary location of the Sickleman, the other well-known one. And at the front here is a dump truck. Probably doesn't mean anything. We'll go into the driveway of the house and we will see a police car. I think this is a really important detail for reasons that I can only theorize about, but let's keep this in mind for later, just a bit later when we go into the house. There's a spooky looking scarecrow with a jack-o'-lantern head. Of course, the bombs dropped just before Halloween, so there's all kinds of Halloween paraphernalia everywhere. And there's a loot box here. Oh, it's been done. Alright, so let's go inside. I'll switch the light again, because we're still nighttime. And we can find this scene here. There is a lady or a person in a dress, which has had a giant scythe tucked under her arm. A scythe, of course, is a kind of sickle. It's used basically for the same thing. It's used for harvesting or extracting material from plants, or a sickle is. A scythe is used to cut things down during harvesting time. And we can see here, next to the skeleton, is the birdcage like the one we saw from the other side of the Sickleman. But there's no spittoons. Instead, we have these capless skulls. Now, a capless skull is a lootable item, but not here. These are placed and they're non-lootable, so they're meant to stay just for us to look at. But you can loot capless skulls from other locations in game. I think you can loot them from super mutant blood bags and that kind of thing. They're just mixed in with other fragments of bone like ribs and spines and that kind of thing. But here we see a capless skull placed on the ground and one placed on the arm of this chair. Now, this is just my theory, so bear with me. I believe that these skulls were emptied out by the Sickleman, the skulls of his victims, to be used as a spittoon. I could be dead wrong, but this is just what makes sense to me, so I'm just putting forth my theory now. And it looks as if maybe this person's head is bobbed down to spit into the spittoon. Maybe not. I might be stretching things a bit here, but it seems pretty obvious that this person here is one of the Sickleman's victims. It's worth noting as well that we've got two skeletons down here. One of them with the head missing. This one does have a skull. And it makes for a very interesting scene, as if to say, well, can you figure out what happened here? And what does it mean that we have this police car at the front here? How do we join the dots? Well, I can only theorize, but one theory that I have is that the person that lived here was a police officer who may have been on the trail of the Sickleman. Sickleman found out about this and actually made an example of her. And basically left this big bad scythe here under her arm as if to say, leave me alone, this is what will happen if you come after me. So what am I in for then? The other theory is that we've got these two skeletons here that have been burnt out, who may have been sent here to investigate the fact that this person has been killed by the Sickleman, and perhaps the Sickleman was watching, actually was paying attention to this site, and ambushed the policemen when they got here, and then chucked them on this pile here with all this wood and burnt them out. Again, this could be just wild theory, but this is just me grasping at straws trying to understand this scene. In any case, this was the scene that was in the original vanilla version of Fallout 76. So let's just jump forward a bit to when Bethesda dropped the DLC for Wastelanders. So they've obviously updated the status of this. This isn't just a pre-war serial killer which has disappeared by the wayside after the bombs dropped. This is someone who's still active. And it seems to me that a unique clue are these capless skulls that have been laid down here. Again, I think they're spittoons, but I could be wrong. In any case, let's go down to the next location, which is new. It's completely new with the DLC Wastelanders. And I believe it's a very strong clue that points us towards the identity of the Sickleman. So let's go now. It's right down here. Pretty famous spot. This is Johnson's Acre. Used to be just an abandoned farm. Now it's been converted into a Mothman cultist site. And it's become very interesting to me. So let's have a look. So here we are at the site. It's been populated now by Mothman cultists. There are pyres everywhere, there and there. Up the top here on this ledge, there is now a scarecrow. This is the ledge where you can fling the skeletons off with those traps, which is always fun. But now it's completely overrun by these Mothman cultists. So I'm going to take them out, and I'll restart this video. Okay, so I've cleared out this location. And we can look further and see that there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Obviously, there's another totem here for the Mothman. There's Mothman stuff everywhere. These balustrades here were not covered in skulls and candles before, but they are now. But they're full skulls. But the bit I want to show you is over here on this picnic table. And looky here. We have a capless skull, which was definitely not here in the vanilla version of Fallout 76. And I've seen footage of people playing this section, and I can see that this was not here. This is brand new. And right next to it is a note that wasn't here before either. So this is me making the connection between the Kepler skulls that were non-lootable, they were there just to be seen at the secondary Sickleman site, and now there's another one here. So let's read the note. We look to the sky, tunnel vision. We search for the one, divine, merciful, always watching. This is an interesting poem, given that it is obviously written by a Mothman cultist, because they look to the sky, we're searching for the one, divine, merciful, always watching. This is the kind of dogma that's been spouted by the Mothman cultists when you hang around them and listen to them talk. What's interesting about it, that I found interesting anyway, was that the line, we look to the sky, was followed by the next line, which was tunnel vision. Seems a little odd that you follow the sky, which is where you're supposed to be looking, to tunnel vision. Now, tunnel vision could obviously refer to just how single-minded the Mothman cultists are. Like, they're just completely obsessed. But this line it stuck out to me a little bit. So I thought, well, tunnel vision, what does that actually mean? It's a little bit odd. And so I thought naturally, well, if this is the clue that connects us to the Sickleman, and the Sickleman might actually be a Mothman cultist, it's time to look at the other Mothman sites. So the first thing I did when I found this was I opened up the map and I looked for the first Mothman cultist site that I could find. And there's one right here at Lucky Hole Mine, which is of course a mine which is a series of tunnels. Now, anyone who knows the game that well will know that the Lucky Hole Mine was actually decorated with all kinds of Mothman cultist paraphernalia. It was a site that was extremely pertinent to the Mothman, but not only that, this is the site of the Interloper. Now, we'll go down and see the Interloper in a moment, but you can also see, when we go to see the Interloper in the vanilla version of the game, you could get down there and see all kinds of stuff related to the Mothman cult as well. So let's go down and have a look now. Okay, so here we are at the Lucky Hole Mine. I'm creeping in my Chinese stealth armor because there are some Mothman cultists out the front here, and I want to avoid a skirmish just so I can show you what is here. Now, this is now adorned with all kinds of Mothman stuff. Those tangled branches, you've got the skeleton of the animal, which I don't know what it is. When we get here, we can see some cultists praying at this totem. So I'm going to try and sneak past them and not start a fight. Job done, it seems. And let's go into the mine itself. And here we are in Lucky Hole Mine now. We're heading down to where the church congregation area is. I'm going to try and sneak past the cultists here, because before, in the vanilla version, there were no cultists around at all. And now it's been fully populated. There's even someone standing at the lectern in the pulpit who wants to give a bit of a sermon here. Now I'm going to try and sneak past. Again, I'm in the Chinese stealth armor. It's really handy. But I can trigger the attention of these people if I'm not careful. I just want to show you this one detail behind the church area, which is this giant metal mask. This is a motif that has existed in previous Fallout games as well. Very powerful artifacts, it seems, and having very strange effects on people. And I want you keep this in mind because we're about to go down and see the Interloper now, which has masks just like this. So we need to go down to where the Interloper is. And it's in this little passage here off to the side of the church area. And as we travel along, we'll see a little crease in the wall right here that will allow us to sneak further down into the tunnels. And as we get down here, there's actually a bit of a lab area, including a Mothman cultist. But I don't want to show you this part. I want to go down straight to the Interloper, because here is what may be another Sickleman clue where the Interloper is. Now you just got to sneak back a little bit from where the lab is and find these vines hanging down, which conceal the entrance that will take you down towards the Interloper. Now here we are at the interloper site, and you can see now that unlike the vanilla version, we have cultists praying down here in front of the interloper. There's all kinds of theories about the relationship between the Mothman and the interloper. They are definitely linked. True nature of that, I don't know. But I'm going to take these cultists out because I need to make a thorough investigation of this area here. So I'm going to switch the light on and show you the interloper, which is this giant creature here. Semi-human, it looks like. There's a torso here and some long legs here, 2 knees, and these tentacles growing out of its head, which you may have noticed just a moment ago that these tentacles do actually move, as if to suggest that the interloper is still alive but just laying dormant. Again, there's all kinds of theories about why this is, or what this is, and what the importance is to the game and what its relevance is to the Mothman cult. In any case, let's have a look at the back here. There's some arms growing out of it. Very weird looking creature. And if you look here, behind all these totems, we can see 5 more giant metal masks, identical to the one upstairs in the church area. So there's actually 5 of those, with the interloper laying right in front of it. Now, what is the meaning of that? I don't know. Again, there are all kinds of theories about this, but I don't want to focus on this right now. What I want to look at, apart from these fresh corpses that I made, are all these skeletons right here. A collection of them right in front of this totem that has been attached to this obelisk down here as well, which is an interesting artifact, but let's see. Not sure what that means either. But you can see right down on the ground here, there is a sickle. This was a detail that was included in the vanilla version of Fallout 76, but the fact that I read that poem at the previous site that alluded to tunnel vision and brought me down here, knowing that the Mothman cult is connected to the interloper, and that I found the emptied out skull that was connected to the other Sickleman site, that brought me here on the trail of a Mothman cultist, and I believe that the Sickleman is a Mothman cultist. Now, this clue here might be related to him, or it might not. We can see these cups here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cups, and all of these corpses. Now, is it possible that this sickle was actually used to extract blood from the interloper, because his tentacles do look rather stained? And if you shoot the interloper, very dark blood comes out of it. So maybe these skeletons here were worshippers that were trying to imbue themselves with the power of the interloper. It's worth noting too that these cultists, 2 of them here are wearing civilian clothes. Maybe they were captives that were sacrificed to the interloper by someone wielding a sickle. And what's interesting about the sickle as well is that the Mothman cultists, they have their own weapons, of course. They have the cultist dagger and the cultist sword. So why would a sickle be used for anything? Again, these are all just me theorizing about what's really happening here, but the fact that I found a sickle down here is really interesting. To me, anyway. So that's that. Now, to join the dots further, I thought, well, I'm going to have to find more clues, obviously. So I went looking for the capless skulls. And I went through all of the Mothman sites here. And there are many spotted around now. There's one here on the in the Maya Blake's Offering. You've got Moth Home, and you've got other ones up here further north, which is like Sacrament. And of course, you have this Point Pleasant, which was completely taken over by cultists, and was actually, in fact, an important cultist site pre-war, when you have a couple of characters, including Jeff Lane, who was a Mothman cultist before the war, and there is a secret Mothman site underneath the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant. But again, I don't want to focus on that. I want to show more clues for the Sickleman. So let's have a look over here at the Kanawha County Cemetery. So here we are now at the Kanawha County Ceremony. It is actually, of course, a church. And there is this little shed over here. I'll switch the light on again. where an awful lot of sacrifices have been made, it seems, in front of this totem. Mothman has been laying his eggs down here. This wasn't in the vanilla, so this is new. But I want to go up to the church and show you another detail. Now, as we get up here, there can be some cultists sitting out the front. There aren't right now, but there could be congregation in the center of the church, in which case it's going to get quite bloody. We're going to go up to this middle section here of the church and investigate this site here, which was in the vanilla, has to be said, where this poor sap here has been impaled upon this spike in front of this totem, obviously ritualistically done with all of these candles around. And here we have another Kepler skull, and this was the only non-lootable Kepler skull that I could find at any of the Mothman sites. This is the only other place. So if my theory is correct that the Sickleman is a Mothman cultist, it would seem that if he's in the habit of emptying out the skulls of his victims or taking the cap off of them, that he may have left this here. But this is the only one that I could find. Of course, this whole area now has been redone as a major Mothman site. And the Mothman does occasionally come down here at a certain time of night to swoop down on this little platform here. Now, as I mentioned, I went through all the other Mothman sites. I couldn't find anything. Maybe someone else could do the same and find something that I couldn't. But I was scratching my head thinking, what else can I find here? And there was one other site, which is a very obvious Mothman site, but also not obvious. And it's this one right here at the Landview Lighthouse, which hosts the event called the Path to Enlightenment. Now, to look at the location of this, you might know where I'm going with this. Let's go to the lighthouse now. So here we are at the Landview Lighthouse, which, as I mentioned, is the site for the Path to Enlightenment public event, where, and I've taken some footage of this, you need to call the Mothman down by collecting bioluminescent fluid from fireflies that are hanging around here, as well as the rad toads that consume them, where you can grab the fluid from them as well. Grab 50 units, throw it into this light, and that will call the Mothman down. Again, to restate that I think this site is significant because of its location. Well, let's have a look at the map again. Right here is where this log cabin is, which was the very first reveal of the Sickleman. So let's go back to this location. Here we are again. The Sickleman is here. Scroll. Let's jump up to the balcony and look down. Bam, the exact spot where the Mothman can be called down. You can look straight down from here and see the Mothman as he's being called, albeit through the trees. Again, this is just a theory, but I got goosebumps when I realized this, that this cabin was in direct line of sight from where the Mothman could be communed with. And this is why I think that the Sickleman is in fact a Mothman cultist. What do you think of this theory? Am I stretching a little bit too hard? Am I joining the dots wrongly? Am I investigating these clues with a little bit too much bias? I'll leave that to you guys to sort out. I feel like I'm onto something here. If you have any comments or anything to add to this, or any other clues that you may have found related to what I believe I've found here, please do let me know. I'm on the hunt here and I'd love to figure this out. Let's do it together. Alright guys, thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.